Okay, ladies and gentlemen, this is Roger W. Knight and another installment on my Arithmetic Lessons series. Today we're going to do division. I remember in grade school that first we did addition, and then we practiced and practiced and practiced till we mastered it. Then we did subtraction, and we practiced and practiced and practiced until we mastered it. And then we did multiplication, and we practiced and practiced and practiced until we mastered it. And then finally we went to division, which requires competence in addition, multiplication, and most especially subtraction. Now I'm going to show you how to do what they call short division or long division. Well, they call it all those things. But it's a traditional method taught in American schools. The German method is slightly different, but it seems to work for the Germans. But I'm going to tell you the traditional American method before we got all reform math all over the place in the public schools. First question, division problem is the number 5,280 divided by 11. And I drew this in, but you have your division mark that looks like that. And what we do is that we take the 11, and obviously it's not going to go into 5 any times. But 52 is larger than 11, so we figure the first digit is going to be here in the hundreds. And if we remember our multiplication tables, such as what we see here in the Peaches, then we would know that 11 times 4 is 44, and 11 times 5 is 55. Well, 55 is greater than 52, but 44 is less than 52. So we put 44 here. And we put the 4 up here, so we know that 5,280 divided by 11 is somewhere between 400 and 500. We just know that. And then we split this. We do a simple subtraction. 4 from 2 is 8, like so. We chop this back down to 4 because we're taking away 1 just like we do in subtraction. And 4 minus 4 is 0, so we have 8. And then what we do is we bring down this 8 here in the tens. And we look at that. Well, that's an easy multiple of 11. It's 11 times 8, which is 88. Which we can put in down here. We put the 8 here. And that results in 0. Bring the 0 down. Well, it's 0. Obviously, 11 goes into 0 0 times. So we put that there. And there's our answer. 5,280 divided by 11 is 480. That's a simple example of how to do basic traditional type of division. Let's see, we have some other examples here. A common problem is that you have a fraction, such as 5/8 inch. And 5/8 inches, well, it's 1/8 of 5 inches. How do you decimalize, get the decimal form of 5/8? Well, you divide 5 divided by 8. And we have this. And we realize that 8 goes into 5 less than 1 times, because 8 is greater than 5. So we put a decimal point here. We draw in a 0. And now we realize that we can put 8 into 50 X number of times. We put the decimal point up here. And 8 times 6 is 48, which is less than 50. 8 times 7 is 57. It is 56, excuse me, which is greater than 50. So we know that the first digit is 6/10 right here. And we put the 48 here. And we subtract that from the 50. And we get 2. And then we want the next digit in our decimalization of 5/8. Well, we put another 0 here. We bring it down here. Now we have 20. 8 goes into 20. How many times? Well, 8 times 2 is 16. 8 times 3 is 24. So 8 times 2 is 16, so we know the next digit up here is a 2. So 62 hundredths is getting closer to the value of 5/8 inch. And we put the 16 down here. We subtract that out, and we get 4. And then we have another 0 here, because there's an unlimited number of zeros we can play with, depending on how far you need to draw out your decimal. And we bring it down here, and what do you know? 8 times 5 is 40 exactly. We put the 5 here, we put the 4 here, and as you can see, that comes out to 0. So we know that 5/8 can decimalize out to 0.625. So 5/8 inch is 0.625 inches, or perhaps 625 mils if you feel like dividing inches into thousandth parts and calling them mils. So that's another example of division and how useful it can be. Let's see. Well, let's see what we got here. Here's another example, and just show you how to use it. Let's say we got the number 43,200 divided by 9. Well, how many times does 9 go in there? Well, obviously 9 is greater than 4, so we know it's not 10,000, more than 10,000. But 9 goes into 43 a certain number of times. Well, let's see. 9 times 3 is 27. 9 times 4 is 36. 9 times 5 is 45. So 36, which is 9 times 4, that would be the number we use. We can put in the 36 here. And we know that 4 is this digit up here. So 43,200 divided by 9 is somewhere between 4,000 and 5,000. We know that already. And again, we do the subtraction. 6 from 13 is 7. We cut the 4 down to 3. We take away 1. 3 from 3 is 0, so we have the 7. And then we have the 2. Well, we take the 2 here. And 9 goes into 32. 9 goes into 72. How many times? It goes in there 8 times. 9 times 8 is 72. So we put the 8 here. And we put the 72. And we get 0. So we know these two zeros, well, it goes into 0 times. So 4,800 is 1/9 of 43,200. Very useful that way. So far, I've picked relatively easy numbers to work with and to show the proof of concept. Now, what do we got here? Oh, I made a deliberately more difficult problem to show you that this can be done with the more difficult problems. I don't know how the schools are teaching them nowadays, but here it is. We have 432.5 divided by 19. Well, how do we do that? Well, 19, of course, is greater than 4, so there's no digit there. So it's less than 100. 19 goes into 43 a few times. So let's see. 19 times 2 is 38. That's smaller than 43. I would say that 2 is over 20. So I would put 38 here. And we can do the subtraction like so. And 8 from 13 is 5. By the way, if you do the subtraction that's less than the number you're dividing by, obviously you need another digit. That's one of the ways you can do. You can correct yourself while you're doing this, so that if you make a mistake, you can correct the mistake. In fact, making the mistake helps you solve the problem. And of course, because 8 had to come from 13, well, we have to do the takeaway, 33, just like subtraction, and the 0 down there. And then we take the next digit, 52. Now, 19 goes into 52 at least 2 times. Does it go in 3 times? Well, we can do the multiplication over here to test to see if 19 goes in there 3 times. You know, you can do quick little multiplications on the side. And let's see, 9 times 3 is 27. 2. 1 times 3 is 3, plus 2, 57. Well, it's still greater than 52. So we know that the next digit in our estimation of 432.5 divided by 19 is a 2. So it's between 22 and 23. So we put the 38 down here because we already determined that 38 is 19 times 2. We subtract that out there. And let's see, 8 from 2 is 4. That takes that down to 4. 3 from 4 is 1. So we have 14, but still less than 19. We put the decimal point here. What's the first decimal point after 22 in the number of 432.5 divided by 19? Well, we put a 5 here. Now we got 145. Well, 19 goes into 145 how many times? Well, we can do a little bit of a experimentation here. Let's do 19 times 7. We're guessing. Well, 9 times 7 is 63. Carry the 1. 1 times 7 is 7, plus the 6 is 13. Well, that's a pretty good guess. 9 times 7 is 63. 6, 1. That's 7 plus the 6. Yeah, that's 13. 133. 1, 3, 3. So we have 22.7 as an estimate. And because we got 133 in the denominator, well, we get 2 here. We're running out of space, but you get the idea. 3 from 4 is 1, so we got 112. And then we put in the 0, and you can keep getting more and more decimals. The thing is that you can use this method to calculate 432.5 divided by 19 to however many decimal places you want. Whether you ever get to the end is hard to say. But that's how useful this method of division is because you can be as accurate as you need, or if 22.7 is good enough for your purposes, then you accept that. Although I would say, looking at that, 122 is a little less than 133, so I can tell you right now that the next digit is probably a 6. So 22 3/4 is a good estimate of 432.5 divided by 19. And then if you really wanted to do that, well, let's say you multiply 19 times 6 and you get that number, subtract that there, then pull the 0 down, and you just keep on going and keep on going, however long you want to do it. So that's how you can do division. Have a nice day, and go look at my other videos, please. And my next video, I'm going to do square roots.